Hello everyone, this is Lakkoju. Welcome to the UPSC mascot. In today's session, I am going to deal with the concept of food security, which is an important one in your GS paper 3. Let's start our session. Food security. According to the United Nations Committee of the World Food Security has been defined as a means for all people at all times having the physical, social and economic access to sufficient, safe and nutritious food that meets their food requirements and dietary needs for an active and healthy life. India has travelled a long way towards the food security from importing of the food grains, which has now achieved the self-sufficiency in food grains through increased domestic production. So, what is food security? It is a measure of the availability of the food grains and an individual's ability to access it. India is one of the few countries in the world that is having the government held stock of the food grains. That is nothing but the buffer stock of food grains. What is meant by the buffer stock? It refers to the reserve of a commodity that is used to offset the price fluctuations and unforeseen emergencies. So this buffer stock of food grains is very important because of the following these three reasons. That is to meet the natural calamities, for the price stabilization in case of the crop failures and providing the food grains under the public distribution system. Here, Food Corporation of India also plays a major role. The primary responsibility of the Food Corporation of India was to procure the food grains at minimum support price and storing in the warehouses in different locations and thereby supplying to the state governments in terms of their requirement. Food Corporation of India also sells in the open market to stabilize if the price turn volatile, especially in case of the crop failures. So, there are some current issues in this buffer stock operations. So, government is holding the higher stocks than the required amount because the FCI does not have the enough storage. At present, the entire capacity of FCI is around the 60 million tons, but the actual available storage in FCI is not more than 50 million tons. So here there is a tremendous wastage of around 50,000 crores annually by both on account improper and inadequate storage facilities. So this is a major issue in this buffer stock operations. And the third aspect is the public distribution system. Here government has to bear the differentiation cost. That means between the economic cost and the prices charged in the public distribution system as the food subsidy of over 75,000 crores rupees. Okay, so this public distribution system PDS is evolved as a system of management of scarcity through distribution of food grains at affordable prices. This Indian food security system was established by the Government of India under the Ministry of the Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution to distribute the food and non-food items to India's poor at subsidized rates. Here, just look at a glance. The revamped public distribution system was launched in June 1992 in 1775 blocks. This is for more backward and remote areas throughout the country. And subsequently, the targeted public distribution system was established in June 1997 for below poverty line. And for above poverty line and for poorest of the poor, there is a central government scheme called the Antyodaya Anna Yojana. So this is briefly about the public distribution system. And what are the issues in integrated public distribution system? Just look at a glance. So some of the issues are about the identification of beneficiaries. So studies have shown that the targeting mechanisms are prone to large inclusions and exclusion errors. And the second issue is that there is a leakage of the food grains. So transportation leakages and black marketing by FPS owners. and issue with procurement, that is the open-ended procurement which creates a shortage in the open market, and issue with the storage, so shortfall in the government storage capacity, and discourages the crop diversification. That means the provision of the minimum support prices encourages the farmers to divert the cultivated land and thus discouraging the crop diversification, and there are several environmental factors that are affecting in this integrated public distribution system. So there are some of the reforms of this PDS to improve these circumstances. So one of the reform is role of Aadhaar. So to address the problem of inclusion and exclusion errors, integrating Aadhaar with targeted public distribution system will help in better identification of the beneficiaries. And there was a committee called Vadva Committee which is appointed by the Supreme Court. So this committee has found it that certain states had implemented the computerization and technology based reforms that helped plug leakages of the food grains during the targeted public distribution system. So what are the examples of these technology based reforms? Like digitization of the ration cards, computerized allocation to FPS, issue of the smart cards in place of the ration cards, use of GPRS technology, SMS based technology, and use of the web based citizens portal. So these are some of the examples of the technology based reforms. So up to now we have seen what is about the food security and buffer stock of the food grains and the current issues involved in these operations, and a brief idea about the public distribution system and what are the current issues that are involved in this public distribution system. Next we will look into the National Food Security Act. This act was passed by the Parliament on 10 September 2013. The objective of this National Food Security Act is to provide for food and nutritional security in human life cycle approach. So, what are the key features of this National Food Security Act? So, the first one is under the targeted public distribution system, there is a coverage of up to 75% of the rural population and 50% of urban population, and this act also entitled to receive 5 kg of food grains per person. And under Antyodaya Anna Yojana households, which constitutes the poorest of poor, will receive 35 kg of food grains per household per month. And this act also provides the nutritional support to women and children, and besides meals to pregnant women and lactating mothers during pregnancy and 6 months after the childbirth, the woman will get the maternity benefit of not less than 6,000 rupees, and there is the nutritious meals for children up to 14 years of age, and it provides the food security allowance and ensuring the transparency and accountability. And this act also contains the grievance redressal mechanism at district and state level. So these are some of the key features of this National Food Security Act. And next we will look into what are the challenges before India in achieving the food security. Challenges are increasing day by day because the rural population are migrating to urban areas. So there is a large proportion of the informal workforce resulting in unplanned growth of slums. So these areas are lacking in the basic health and hygiene facilities and insufficient housing, and ultimately the food insecurity has been increased. So overpopulation, poverty, lack of education, and the gender inequalities, these are all some of the challenges in achieving the food security in India. So quickly look at these points that are the challenges in achieving the food security. So here the faulty food distribution system. So targeted beneficiaries should be properly identified, and the nutritional programs which are providing to the children or the pregnant women should be properly monitored and guided. So absence of intersectoral coordination here, and agricultural productivity has to be improved. Mechanism for effective and sustainable food storage. So the storage capacity should also be increased, ensuring the food availability and accessibility to BPL families, and improvement in purchasing power. So diversification of the crop should be encouraged. So these are all some of the challenges we are facing in achieving the food security. And next, what are the measures that ought to be taken to achieve the food security? First one is the education and literacy. So the crop diversification, tackling the climate change, and integrated water management, nutrient management, fertilizer management, pesticide management in the field areas. So improved varieties among the crops and improved technology adoption in rural areas while cultivating the crops. So these are some of the measures to achieve the food security. With this, we are concluding this session. In this session, I have given a brief overview on this particular topic. If you like my video, please share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Have a nice day.